Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Hello. Good evening. Hi, Cambo. You well? Hello, everyone else. Aradine. Hello. Mike. Good evening. Onanada. Beat the World Eaters with the Lost Brethren list. You are a brave person. Good evening and welcome to Sunday night's Army List show. If you aren't familiar,
I have awoken.
with the Hounds of Mordecai, they are a Space Wolf Primaris unit that are legends. They only lasted about 4.5 years, and Campbell really liked them. So when I saw his name in chat before the stream started, I thought I'd just have a little bit of fun. So pour one out. If you're drinking an alcoholic beverage tonight, pour one out for the Hounds of Mordecai. But yeah, so we've got a boatload of army lists to look at tonight. You can hear me loud and clear, right? Any problems with the audio? We all good? Before I get fired in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm being ambitious. We're going to look at 10 lists tonight. So the next hour or so, we'll look at 10 army lists. We'll tell you how we could make them better. Hello, Tom. Thanks so much for being a member for 32 months, Cambo. I do appreciate it. I don't think Reavers will get put to Legends. But we're having a big discussion actually in the Discord if Space Marine Codex 2.0 is actually a thing, and if it is actually going to Legends a bunch of Space Marine units. It's an interesting concept. And I also have heard a rumor that Blood Angels are getting buffed. That's the big rumor. Balanced data slate. Some people thought it was last week. Some people are now saying it's going to be this week. Some people are saying that the Blood Angels are getting buffs. What that might look like, no idea. Do I think it's going to buff Lost Brethren and Angelic Host? I feel like that's unlikely. Maybe we're going to get a few points drops. I guess we'll see. So this thing could look very different next week, but we'll go on what we know right now, which is the standard rules we've been playing pretty much since the Codex came out. Not too many changes from the initial Codex release, I guess. So Glockula is our first list tonight. I've taken your advice on the last list I posted and reworked it and switched to lag instead of Angelic Inheritors. I think I've decided on a list. He's playing Dark Angels Monday, new Thousand Suns with a Demon Detachment. No Magnus, Lord of Change, and Kairos. I'm thinking of Blood Angels Captain in the Impulsor with Assault Intercessors. We're thinking Blade Guard plus the Judasar with a second unit of Blade Guard and the Land Raider. Dante plus 6 Sanguinary Guard in reserve for Rapid Ingress. The Sanguinary in reserve for Deep Strike. The Captain with 3 Sangard in reserve for Rapid Ingress. It feels like a lot of Sanguinary Guard and a lot of character support, I guess. I don't know if you guys watched my video that I made on Friday. Definitely, I personally feel that Sanguinary Guard are not durable enough to justify their points. Like, they die horribly fast. And I guess this is why a lot of people are playing Blood Angels, but running, is it like 18 Blade Guard? I actually was looking at the tournament data for this weekend, and this weekend there was a tournament with a 5-in-1 Blood Angels list, and the list was called Testing Out Blade Guard Veterans, and the guy had like 12 Blade Guard Veterans on his list. So I think at the moment, big squads of Blade Guard Veterans are, like, point for point, probably the most efficient way to play Blood Angels. Whether or not we like that, because it devalues units in our codex, I guess we probably don't like it, but that's the reality of the situation. Is like, more people are winning events with Blade Guard and Jump Intercessors than people that are winning event with Death Company and Sanguinary Guard. Like, those units are B, probably, and Blade Guard and Jump Intercessors are probably A. It's probably as simple as that. Alright, so Blood Angel's captain with Rage, a Blood Angel's captain with Speed of the Primarch, Dante, a Judiciar, and the Sanguiner. And I also don't think the Sanguiner is a great pick in Liberator Assault Group, just because he lacks rerolls and he doesn't count as having charged, so he doesn't have great strength either. Assault Intercessors, an Impulsor. Alright, so the Captain, Assault Intercessors, and Impulsor. We've got 2 units of Jump Intercessors. We've got Ballistas. We've got 2 small units of Blade Guard. We've got Infiltrators. We've got Land Raider. And then we've got 9 Sanguinary Guard, a 6 and a 3, and a unit of Scouts. Hello Gareth, hello Phil, hello Gordon, hello Arch. Did I miss someone? Oh, Calgar, hello. Nice to see you. I think it's going to be a marine-wide point cuts and maybe some additional ones for Blood Angels, says Calgar. Yeah, I don't think any marine faction has over 50% win rate at the moment. So this list does a few things good potentially, but also does a few things bad, right? Like a single Ballistas and a Land Raider, in my opinion, is probably not enough fire support. Dante +6 is pretty good. I think if I was going to attach Speed of the Primarch, I'd probably try and attach that to the 6-man, because I think you get more value out of the 6-man fighting first than you would potentially on the 3-man. Blade Guard, 2 little squads. One with a Judiciar, I guess, is okay. Gives you a fight first, but it's not a super strong fight first. Yeah, so this list has like 3 fight firsts, but none of them are super strong. They're like average fight firsts. A couple of units of Jump Intercessors. And then that 1 big unit of Sanguinary Guard. Like, I don't hate it. I think it's like a 3-in-2 tournament list. I don't think it's super optimized. Like, at the moment, the Sanguiner is not optimized pick for Liberator Assault Group. 9 Sanguinary Guard is a very hefty point investment. Yes, I suppose you have the Scouts. Yes, I suppose you have a lone operative in the Sanguiner. But, like, you don't have... You don't have a huge amount of, like, big killing units, which I guess is why people are taking the 6 Blade Guard, right? Like, 3 units of 6 Blade Guard, that's like 3 big killing units for a very reasonable point cost of like 480 or something. You know, like if you try to do 3 big squads of Sanguinary Guard, by the time you attach some characters, you'd be well over 1,000 points. So, yeah, it's got a bit... This list has a bit of everything, right? It's got units to score actions, it's got units to do fight first, it's got Jump Intercessors to contest, it's got that Impulsor for pushing forward. But I feel like it's just lacking in terms of like what's going to push this over the edge, right? Like it just doesn't like, it doesn't have lots and lots of unit spam for trading. It doesn't have lots and lots of like, you know, when we could take Death Company with all Power Fists and all Infernal Pistols, it doesn't have like crazy Alpha Strike damage. And then honestly, like, I understand taking a Land Raider. I just ran a Land Raider the tournament was at. But I would only probably take it if you're trying to counter something, right? Like the Land Raider only went in my list because I needed to counter 2 armies that I felt like I couldn't deal with. Most of the time I would suggest you just take... Like, you could just take 3 Ballistas Dreadnoughts as a start in Liberator Assault Group, or you could take 2 Lancers and a Ballistas. Like, the Blade Guard and Land Raider is fine, but I think Blade Guard and Impulsor is probably better. Yeah, I mean, like, literally, unless you've got a real reason to take the Land Raider, I don't know if... Like, it shoots okay. It tank shocks okay. It survives with 5 OC okay, but I don't think it's particularly great at anything, right? And also, it can be quite difficult to maneuver around sometimes. It's quite big. Can we send in Ultramarines lists? Yeah, if you want to. I think, like, I already said, I think for the next tournament I'm going to play Stormlance. And I think Stormlance is possibly better with Guilliman. Last edition I ran Guilliman a few times, I ran Hellbreak a few times, I ran Black Templars a few times. So yeah, I mean, if you want to send it in, it's fine. I think I've got a Stormlance list to look at very, very shortly. But yeah, I think this is an okay Liberator Assault Group list. If I had to try and improve it, like right now where we are in the meta, I'd probably get rid of the Land Raider. I'd probably do something like double Lancer. I'd probably maybe even feel about like removing the Sanguinor or something. I think either remove the Sanguinor or remove the Captain and one small squad of Sangre Guard, and then add maybe like another 6 Blade Guard, something like that. Kedma, good evening, how are you? Jamie, I feel if you take the Judasar, he needs to lead 6 Blade Guard. Yeah, I mean, I think 6 Blade Guard is the efficient... I don't want to say it's the correct way of playing Blade Guard, but I kind of think it is, right? Like, I think if you're running Liberator Assault Group, I'm not even convinced you need to lead Blade Guard with a character in Liberator Assault Group. I think with Blade Guard and Liberator Assault Group, you just take them as 6s for 160 points. I think that's pretty cheap. And you just try and make a charge, right? Like, you have, 30 attacks. You can use their ability to reroll ones to hit. So, and then if you need to, you can get lethal hits and lance from the stratagem. So I think I would just throw the Blade Guard in, keep them as cheap as possible. Strength 7 on the charge as well. Gilliman is taking up so many points, though. How to maximize effectiveness? I don't even know if Gilliman is taking up so many points, dude. On the topic of Gilliman, he is giving you Oath of Moment in 2 places with +1 to wound every turn. That is bonkers, right? Like, that makes... And Gilliman, believe it or not, on his own sum, probably does as much damage as Dante +3 Sangre Guard, right? Like, he is... His sweeps are insane. He gets like 14 attacks on his sweep at AP3 devastating wounds. You know, like, Gilliman on his own gets more attacks than a 3-man squad of Sangre Guard. And he's got higher strength, and he's got devastating wounds. And he can get +1 to wound without a stratagem usage as well, which is bonkers. Yeah, and Gilliman gives you 10 CP every game as well. So, I mean, factor that in, right? Alright, Alex. He is going to be playing Stormlance. So this is what I could be playing if I was playing Blood Angel Stormlance. Okay, so for the record, I played Stormlance for the first time on Wednesday night. I beat Genestealer Cults. I don't know if I overly liked my list, but it's definitely given me some food for thought. I think there is some really strong Stormlance army lists that we could play using like 90% of the Blood Angels models, right? Okay, so, and I might try and take, like, I really do think I might try and take Stormlance the next tournament. So interesting to see. Let's see what this Blood Angel Stormlance looks like. Yes, sweetheart. Someone's not in their bed again.
Well, what I really have to tell you is, I need my blanket flattened.
You need your blanket flattened, okay. Alright, I'll go flatten your blanket. I'll be right back, guys. Come on, into bed. Okay, Gilliman and Ultras are getting nerfed this week, so we'll see. I did look at the win rate and saw that, like, even Sisters of Battle actually have apparently a higher win rate than us right now, and I was like, how can Sisters of Battle have a higher win rate than us? Because they're so bad. Okay, so we've got a captain on a bike with Fury of the Storm. Fury of the Storm is interesting, actually, because I believe it gives you 2 extra attacks, and... No, not 2 extra attacks, sorry. It gives you 2 extra strength and 2 extra AP if you make a charge. So I think, yeah, if you make a charge, increase the AP and strength by 2, So your chaplain on a bike, his Crozius becomes AP3 3 damage. Which, I mean, Blood Angels have literally no access to AP3. Sorry, no access to damage 3. Out with, like, Assault Centurions, right? So, chaplain on a bike. I'm not actually sure what his strength would be, though. His strength will be... I mean, he gets +1 to wounds, so maybe it's not such a problem. So his strength 6, AP3 3 damage. If he is... Oh, no. He gets 2 more strength as well. That's what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So he becomes strength... If he's leading Outriders, which I'm assuming he will be, he'll be strength 9, AP3, 3 damage, 5 attacks, +1 to wound. Cool. I actually kind of like that for 100 points. I think that could be cool. Thank you, Akushla. Yeah. 8, 3, 3. And like Blood Angels have literally no access to 3, 3, so that's cool. 8 also means if you got +1 to wound, you're wounding everything in the game on 4s at worst, right? 2 Ballistuses and a Brutalis. Incursors, I guess, to give them +1 to hit, potentially. 2 Invader ATVs. They might even be attached to the 2 Outrider squads. 2 6-man Outrider squads and a 3-man Outrider squad. I mean, it is a good detachment for Outriders. There's a stratagem to get +1 to wound whenever you charge with Outriders. The Stern Guard, I actually really like the Stern Guard in this detachment. Because all their weapons are assault, so for 1 CP you can give them sustained. I was thinking of running Stern Guard this week. A couple of Thunderstrikes. The Thunderstrike gives +1 to wound against vehicles and monsters. So I guess the +1 to wound against vehicles and monsters potentially because you don't have Guilliman or you don't have Oath of the Moment giving +1 to wound. And then you've got Stormraven Gunship, which can deliver something. I imagine the Stormraven Gunship delivers 10 Stern Guard and the Brutalis Dreadnought. Okay, I mean, I think there's the play here. What do you think about Storm Peepers? What do you mean what are Storm Peepers? Sorry. So I was inspired to create Stormlance Bloodless Angels. Oh right, because you're not taking any Blood Angels units, and because you're playing Stormlance, so this list here is getting +1 to wound on its Oath of Moment, correct? No, that's cool. What do I think about Storm Speeders? I think they might have some use. They'll be better in this detachment because you can make them -1 to hit and wound. So I really like the Stern Guard in this detachment. With the Fuselage strat, they get sustained 1 since they already have assault weapons. They'll be brutal against Oath of Moment targets because you'll reroll all hits, you reroll all wounds with +1 to wound, and every 6 is a devastating wound. The Chaplain of the Fury will hit very strong in charge. Having the +1 on Oath will be strong. The Captain leads the Stern Guard. They're in the Stormraven with the Brutalis Dreadnought. So the Captain can make the Stormraven unit do stratagem for 1 CP less. The Brutalis is in there as well. I actually kind of liked having a Tech Marine inside the Stormraven, so when the Stormraven moves forward, because you know it's going to draw a bunch of fire, you move it forward, you disembark the Tech Marine, the Tech Marine's lone operative. It means that if you survive the turn, you can repair up the Stormraven. I think that's a cool combo as well. I kind of like the idea of the Thunderstrikes until I realised that this list actually has the +1 to wound from Oath. And because I think you've got the +1 to wound from Oath, I'd probably only take 1 Thunderstrike, maybe. The Hailstrike is the one that removes AP for 1, except against monsters and vehicles. And then the other one is the one that strips cover, right? Yeah. And the points costs difference on those are 125. I might take the one that strips cover, honestly, for 125. It's got like a bunch of Meltas on it as well, doesn't it? Yeah. It's got the Missile Launcher Strength 9, it's got the Melta Strength 9. The Melta is actually 3 shots as well, which is worth... So you get 6 Strength 9 shots out of this, all doing... Well, 5 of them doing D6 and 1 of them doing D3. I'd maybe do that, like swap out this for like the Melta version, save 25 points, and then I was going to be like, can I save another 25 points or 30 points and have a Tech Marine? Because I think that would be cool. The Tech Marine could also help give the Brutalis Dreadnought, keep it alive when it comes out of the transport. If Stormlance is strong, couldn't we make Angelic Host work too? I mean, it is an equal damage problem for Blood Angels in both these detachments. Angelic Host, maybe. I mean, I think Angelic Host maybe works if you play a crap load of Plasma Inceptors. Maybe I need to revisit Angelic Host, but I think the problem, like most people that were trying to build Angelic Host wanted to include units from the Blood Angels Codex. I guess if you take that out of the equation, Tommy, then maybe, right? I think the problem with the Blood Angels Codex is you get all the new units in the Codex, and you're looking at the detachment and going, oh, all the units in the Codex don't really work with this detachment, right? But I guess now it's been long enough that people aren't even trying to do that anymore. They're just trying to take different detachments. They're just trying to take different detachments, and they don't people now know that most of the units in the Blood Angels Codex are a bit of a miss, so they're quite happy to just not take them. Like, I didn't even realize this list until he said that it didn't have the plus. I didn't realize this list had no Blood Angels units till I got to the end of it, right? I think yeah, okay, I know what I want to... With this list, what I want to do is I want to drop an Invader ATV, and I want to change one of those Storm Speeders out. What that gives me is 25 points and the 60 points if I drop the ATV, which gives me 85 points. I'm going to give this captain that's leading the Stern Guard the enhancement for 10 points that lets them fall back and shoot. Because I really think you want your Stern Guard to be able to shoot and not be locked in combat. I forget what that's called, but there's an enhancement. Fainting Withdraw, 10 points. So I'm going to use 10 points of those 85 to give fall back and shoot. Then I'm going to take a Tech Marine, and I guess... I mean, there's nothing we can really give the Tech Marine. But I think fall back and shoot is probably a must on the Stern Guard. You do not want that unit stuck in combat, unable to fall back and shoot. I don't think there's a strat for fall back and shoot. I think the only way you can do that is attaching a unit. Is attaching something to it. Which I think which you said was going to be the captain. But yeah, I think there is some play in Stormlands. I think not having Blood Angels units to get the +1 to wound actually helped ever so much. Didn't they change the rule for Blood Angels doesn't work anymore is it only for the Blood Angels attachments? Correct, yes. So if you play Stormlance, because the Stormlance detachment is in the main Space Marine Codex, you get to keep your +1 to wound, assuming you have no Blood Angels characters, right? You cannot play Liberator to Assault Group and get the +1 to wound, and that's probably going to work against Angelic Host as well, right? So if Angelic Host was able to take that +1 to wound for having no Blood Angels units, probably might be viable. Without it, it probably isn't super viable. That +1 to wound gives so much value. Like, I couldn't believe how much damage just bolters were doing with that +1 to wound. So I imagine like a unit like Stern Guard with +1 to wound, rerolling all hits and all wounds, and getting sustained as well, and getting devastating wounds as well. They'll be bonkers. Like, they'll just be bonkers strong. Like, you'll do 10 dev wounds with that. I mean, you'll do 10 dev wounds with the Stern Guard, you're getting 30 shots. 30 shots, rerolling everything, sustained, and then rerolling everything, +1 to wound, devastating wounds. It's bonkers good. I think my Stormlands list might be 10 Stern Guard, 10 Hellblasters. Both led by characters that can give sustain, both led by fall back and shoot. Because I think that's insane. I don't think I'm going to be running Kalgarth though, so I'm not overly worried about that. Technically, the Red Space Marines, yeah. Okay, so that was Red Space Marines list we just had a look at. So hi, I'm playing my first game next week against Nids. I've tried to build a balanced list to cover their high toughness units and also the low toughness but large number of units while trying to get as much bonus from lag as I could. I'm very new, so I'm open to constructive criticism. This is Benny's list. The plan is for the Repulsor to carry Blade Guard and a Chaplain out to an objective and rapid ingress Terminators. I only had points for one fight first, so it could either be the Chaplain, but I thought the Blade Guard. Alright, let's see what we've got. So we've got Chaplain with fight first. We've got the Chaplain and Terminator armor. We've got the Combi Weapon Lieutenant. We've got 2 units of Jump Intercessors. We've got a Ball Predator. We've got 2 Ballistuses. We've got 6 Blade Guard. We've got Brutalis. We've got Infiltrators. We've got Outriders. We've got Outriders. We've got Annihilators. We've got an Executioner. We got Scouts, and we got Terminators. So the only Blood Angels unit in this list is the Ball Predator. Oh, but it doesn't matter, because I was thinking you could cut the Ball Predator to get +1 to wound, but no, you can't do that. Aurelian says, I ran 10 Stern Guard and 10 Hellblasters this weekend, and I can confirm it's insane. Which detachment, Aurelian? And I'm really curious. Put Lieutenant Titus in the Hellblasters for sustained 1. That's exactly what I was thinking. Because he's a lieutenant, does he give fallback and shoot? Lieutenant Titus. No. No fallback and shoot. Oh, that's a little bit annoying. Oh, but it wouldn't even matter because, yeah, there's other things you can do. He doesn't... Gladius, okay. Gladius is a fallback and shoot strat, doesn't it? Okay, Benny Lover. Yes. This list. 2 Jump Intercessors, a Ball Predator, 2 Ballistuses, a Brutalis. So you got the Ballistus and the Brutalis pushing... Sorry. The Ball and the Brutalis pushing forward. Blade Guard with the Chaplain, I guess, inside the Executioner. You've got an Annihilator. You've got 2 units of Outriders. You've got Infiltrators. You've got Scouts. You've got Terminators led by a Chaplain. Blade Guard led by a Chaplain. It's an interesting list, right? Like, it's maybe a little light on melee units, right? You've got that Blade Guard unit and you've got the Terminator unit. And then you've got the 2 Jump Assault Intercessors. I don't really think of Jump Assault Intercessors as damage-dealing units. They do some damage, but most of the time you just jump them onto the objective to kill chaff, and then they die, right? And then you've got 2 units of Outriders. I feel like the same. Like, they aren't really damaging units. They'll roll onto an objective. They kill, like, a squad of boys, or a squad, like an Aspect Warrior squad, and then they die, right? Like, they're not really a big damaging unit. So the damaging, the stuff in this list that needs to do a lot of damage is the Executioner, the Annihilator, the 2 Ballistuses, the Brutalis, and the Ball Predator, right? Like, it's a bit vehicle heavy. Like, it's borderline getting to the point where it is so vehicle heavy that you might not be getting the most out of Liberator Assault Group, right? Like, 2 units of Outriders, pretty good in Liberator Assault Group. 2 units of Jump Intercessors, pretty good in Liberator Assault Group. The 6 Blade Guard, the squad of Terminators, also pretty good, but, like... Yeah, I feel like you probably... To get the most out of Liberator Assault Group, you maybe need, like, that one more really melee unit. I guess you could argue the Brutalis Dreadnought with 1 extra attack and 2 extra strength is that other melee unit. Just... I find it hard to think that he will be better than, let's say, 6 more Blade Guard. Because 6 more Blade Guard is like 30 attacks, potentially. And this guy will have 6. Is it? Or does the Brutal... In Liberator Assault Group, it would be 7, right? With the Talons? Yeah, you would get 7. 7 at 3 versus 30 at 2. Same AP. 7 at 3 versus 30 at 2. Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't whiff your chance to hit, this might be okay. Definitely, if you struggle with this, the way to improve this list would be to start cutting some of those other units and putting in more melee damaging units, right? But yeah, right now, I mean, putting in melee damaging units is difficult, right? Because Death Company, kind of underwhelming, Sangre Guard, kind of overcosted, so it comes down to, like, probably more Blade Guard. Blade Guard kind of need sometimes an Impulsor, so they get expensive. I guess they can run to try and keep their costs down. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think I have never played a list with quite so much, like 5 tanks and the Brutalis Dreadnought, so I'm not really sure. But when I made the video about Liberator Assault Group and trying to get the most out of Liberator Assault Group, I think I said, like, Liberator Assault Group list building 101. I said you should have 4 melee units. Like 4 melee units that will get a lot of value. And like Outriders are a melee unit, Jump Assault Marines are a melee unit. But like none of them they aren't big, powerful, hard hitting melee units, right? Like, is there a situation in this list where we could make one of those squads of jump intercessors like a 10-man and attach a chaplain with a jump pack? Because then suddenly that thing potentially comes a lot more interesting, right? A lot more damage. I mean, I might be tempted. I really might be tempted to try and, like, do that over the Brutalis Dreadnought. That might be better for me, yeah, I think that might be better. And then maybe you could put that unit into reserve, and then like turn 2 you could bring in the Terminators, turn 3 you could bring in the Jump Intercessors, or vice versa, and you could do an Alpha Strike with both those types of units. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's this one's a bit of a play and see how you get on, Benny. But yeah, I think you're borderline right in the middle there between, like, having spent too many points on shooting and not spent enough on melee units to get the most out of Liberator Assault Group, right? I hope we get a new version of Vanguard Veterans with the Marine 2.0 released. Yeah, Pete, Vanguard Veterans are so irrelevant at the moment. Nobody plays them at all. It's kind of sad. I liked it when they could have the Sangre Priest attached to them, so at least they had some AP, right? Okay, Zakun said, long-time lurker, love the channel. I submitted a list 10 or 12 weeks ago before I go into my first RTT. Do you know what? I saw this comment, and I wanted to say that, like, if you look at the chat, I have a lot of people with green names. Green names mean that you support the channel. I think the cheapest you can support the channel is, like, on Patreon for, like, $2.99 a month or something like that. It's pretty cheap. And if you support the channel, then you get your list review. You jump to the top of the queue. Every week when I pick all these lists, everybody that has paid to the channel, probably in the last... Well, everybody that's a current member literally skips to the front of the queue. So if you've waited 10 weeks for a review, I am sorry. But, like, the beautiful people in the green names that support me week on week, that let me do this as a second job, essentially, they do get to jump to the front of the queue. Do not fancy Calgar. I think Calgar sounds cool. I think attaching them to company heroes is cool, but I think I just want to... I don't really like copying people's lists, and I don't also like copying the meta. So I want to build my own Stormlands list. That's what I did this week. Redemptor Dreadnoughts are still so expensive, though. I think I'm dropping both Redemptor Dreadnoughts. 205 points for Redemptor Dreadnought. For 205 points for no invuln save, and, like, average vehicle toughness, and, like, toughness 10 isn't that great, right? It just seems too expensive, right? You know, like, a repulsor is 25 points cheaper, and it's got, like, what, 4 more wounds and 2 more toughness? It's tough. The Redemptor at 205 points for me is a tough sell. All right, so I do, you know, like, I do put people in that aren't green names, and this is a good example of it. Like, I put this guy in, I put some other ones in, but if you do have a green name, you always jump to the front of the queue. So that's just the nature of the beast, I guess. Okay, so 1,250 points, 3 games, went 3-0, had a blast, got another RTT 3 weeks away. Playing normal 2000 games. Going to be playing a similar list. It just needs a little bit more filled out. Okay. So we've got Liberator Assault Group, 2 captains. Master of Crafted Bolt Gun is fine choice, I guess. You just don't see it very often. Chaplain with Fight First. On foot, Chaplain with a jump pack. So Intercessors on foot, I assume for some sticky objectives. 3 Impulsors. Triple Impulsor is an interesting thing. Did I say 205? Are they 210? Yeah, they're too expensive anyway. 10 Jump Intercessors, 5 Jump Intercessors, 5 Jump Intercessors. This is very... I mean, this is playing on... what I've been talking about in the stream about like not including any of the expensive Blood Angels units, including very optimal cheap Space Marine units. This is what this is. 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts is the exact same thing. 6 Blade Guard is very good as well. 2 squads of company heroes. They are very cost effective as well. Very good. Outriders, Scouts. Is this 2,000 points? Yeah, okay. So, Captain with the hero in the company Impulsors, or Captains with the heroes and company Impulsors, Chaplain with the Blade Guard in the other. I'm going to start the jump pack and his 10, plus 5 more Jump Intercessors and Deep Strike, right? So that's what I suggested in the last list, like add a Jump Captain with 10 Assault Intercessors. I'm going to Rapid Ingress the big block. I'm usually going to push up with the bikes and the Impulsors early. I'm going to try and keep the Chaplain near one of the captains, and Heroic if possible, because they've got the fight first. I'm feeling excited for the big day of Warhammer. Well, cool. Good for you, man. Feel excited. If you're going to be playing for the entire game of Warhammer, my suggestion is take lots of caffeine with you, take paracetamol with you, and make sure you take, like... I've been to events before where they've said they would provide lunch, and the lunch has been all like my first game ran on a little bit too long, and like the lunch has been terrible, or there's just not been very much of it, and I didn't get much to eat. So take snacks with you, keep your blood sugar up, stay hydrated, all those good things. Mike says 3 Impulsors. I like the list already. Yeah, so it's got a lot of drops, right? Like a lot of drops. Those Outriders give it like some early game aggression. The Scouts let you score. The company heroes give you durability. 3 Ballistus is pretty optimal. Fire support, nice and cheap. Lots of rerolls. Blade Guard. 20 Assault Intercessors. I mean, this is not the sort of list that I have been playing, I must admit. Wear comfy shoes, yeah. Don't wear new shoes. Wear broken in shoes, yeah, because you'll be on your feet the whole day. And if you'll also be leaning forward over a table the whole day. So make a conscious effort to like stand up straight and roll your shoulders back when it's not your turn, so you don't like knacker your upper or lower back, because that can also happen as well. Good suggestion, Jeff. Yeah, so this isn't the sort of list that I have been playing, but this is this sort of list, this combo. I'm trying to think if I could play this. I have Scouts, I have 2 Outriders, I have 2 company heroes. I definitely have 6 Blade Guard. I actually only got 2 Ballistuses, so I'd be missing a Ballistus. I could field 20 Assault Intercessors. I could field 3 Impulsors, Intercessors. Yeah, I could play this bar 1 Ballistus Dreadnought. I mean, I could proxy a Redemptor as a Ballistus, or could get off my arse, I suppose, and buy a 3rd Ballistus. But yeah, this is probably one of the strongest ways you can be playing Blood Angels right now. Which is pretty much ignoring most of the Blood Angels Codex. I actually don't think there's a single Blood Angels unit in this list, is there? No, there's not. I hate this, man. I hate buying a Codex and an army box to be told, or to just basically be like every unit in that, like, it just stinks. Like, yeah, cool, okay. So, I mean, this is a very competitive list. It has a lot of tools. 3 Impulsors is very good. You can roll them onto objectives. You can trade with those Outriders. You can trade with the Assault Intercessors with jump packs. You can do a lot of killing with the Blade Guard. You can probably do a bit of precisioning with the company heroes, because I assume both of them can... you know, the company heroes are very good at precision, because you've got the champion who gets about 6 attacks, and then you've got the captain who can take like 8 attacks. So you can precision with like 15 dice at AP 2/2 with a lot of strength in Liberator Assault Group. You can remove battle shock. You can fight first. Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can say about this list. I would say it's arguably probably more competitive than most of the other lists we look at, with lots of Blood Angel stuff inside it. Whether or not I like that or not, at least take the Blood Angels capture. Yeah. Whether or not I like that, that's just, you know, I'm in a funny state. I really hate when units are left to rot in the meta. If there's one thing I hate, it's units being left to rot. Or when people buy a codex and they just can't use the codex very well. You know, like it's just an undervalued or a. Do you know what I hate? I hate it when it goes the other way as well, right? Like I hate Death Guard being super undercosted. I just wish the balance could be better, maybe. All right, great list. Yeah, good job on the list. I wish you well at your event. If you win that RTT as well, then you need to get to a 2-day event, because that's the next evolution. And trust me, it's much harder to win a 2-day event. I was talking about this on the stream, that I always end up making fuck ups in like game 4 or 5 just because I'm tired or. Yeah. All right, Mike's list next. He is prepping for a tournament as well. I'm torn between keeping suppressors or trading them to bump the Blade Guard to a 6-man strong. Otherwise, this list is pretty final for the GT at Warhammer World in June. We need the Sanguinary Priest back with jump pack now. Yeah, unfortunately, that is very highly unlikely, I feel like. I don't really know why, but I feel like we just aren't going to see a Sanguinary Priest with a jump pack. Well, see, here's the problem, Mike. I've played suppressors 2 or 3 times now, and I find their shooting is like incidental, right? Like it chips off like 2 wounds, and then I always end up moving them into bad positions and they just die because I don't really know how to play them, I guess, or I end up needing them to do something and they're just 3 toughness 4 Marines with 0 survivability. So I've tried to play suppressors a few times. I apparently struggle to play suppressors. Okay. So this is Angelic Inheritors. You've got the Captain of the Jump Pack with the removal of charge. You've got Dante. You've got the Judasar. You've got just a regular Lieutenant, not the combi weapon version, and the Sanguiner. Squad of Intercessors for Sticky. Impulsor. Just one Impulsor, Mike. You've let me down. Jump Intercessors. I'm not sure I like Jump Intercessors, personally, in Angelic Inheritors. I just don't think they're going to be that meaningful, I guess. Like, Strength 4 Chainswords. Okay. 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, 3 Blade Guard, a Lancer, Hellblasters. Alright, so the Lieutenant's probably with the Hellblasters, I imagine, to get lethals. Incursors, Infiltrators, Outriders, Sanguinary Guard, Suppressors. So my opinion of having played Blade Guard, and I played Blade Guard with the Chaplain for +1 to wound in this detachment. 3 of them with the +1 to wound. I didn't like them, and the reason I didn't like them was because, well, they'll kill infantry, sure. They'll kill anything less than, like, T5, sure. But they just don't do nothing against armor, right? Like, Blade Guard, even with +1 to wound, will wound, because they're only strength 5 and you get no charge bonus. You only wound armor, like T10 armor on 5s. So your squad, led by Judasar, will do nothing against armor, because you're only going to wound armor on 6s. So when you come into a matchup, like a stat check matchup like Knights, then you have a huge problem, right? Because like the Blade Guard will not do anything against Knights. And just so you know, you're aware as well, Dante's squad will do nothing against Knights, because the Sanguinary Guard Dante leads are only strength 6, and you go into Knights who are T12, you're also only wounding on 6s. So even +1 to wound is not meaningful in that situation. I guess maybe if you roll a crap load of lethals, it can be. But in my experience, the 3 Blade Guard were super underwhelming when I did deal against Knights, and the Sanguinary Guard were also pretty underwhelming when I did deal with, like, Dante's unit was pretty underwhelming when I did deal with high toughness stuff. So I guess keep that in mind, because I really struggled with that. And then the Sanguinar, again, if you're dealing with high toughness stuff, you literally need to roll 6s. He's great if he does a bunch of devastating wounds, but if he doesn't, you've got trouble. The way I saw this was when, like LVO, like before LVO, no one was playing Angelic Inheritors. Jack Harpster played them at LVO, and he did very well, right? And then everybody's like, oh shit, Angelic Inheritors are good, right? Jack Harpster's list for LVO had 2 Vindicator tanks, it had 9 Plasma Inceptors, and it had an untargetable lone operative squad of Devastators led by a Librarian. So that was actually 900 plus points of shooting, right? Because like, I think I did the math on that, where it was like Plasma Inceptors were 240 plus 120, 2 Vindicators 185 plus 185, and then Devastator squad I think is like 150, and then you had to attach a Librarian. Let's just say the Librarian is 65, I think he's maybe 70, I can't remember. But yeah, so Jack Harpster's LVO list that did really, really well, that everyone's like, oh, Angelic Inheritors is good, has 945 points of shooting in it. Yes, he did have 3 units of Sangry Guard, but I guess because he has 945 points of shooting, he has weakened a lot of the enemy with those Vindicator tanks, with those Inceptors, with those Las Cannons, and he can finish them off with the Sangry Guard. My list of Angelic Inheritors that I just did to the tournament had 2 Vindicator tanks, a Ballistus, and a Land Raider. So Land Raider's like 240, 2 Vindicators, what was that, like 370? A Ballistus, so I had like 750 points of shooting, and I got stuck up on games against Knights. Vindicators were cheaper at LVO, sure. I think they're only like 10 points cheaper. Probably something else. Like Blade Guard went up 10, they came down 10. So you get 2 Ballistuses, a Lancer, and Hellblasters. You're probably light on shooting, in my opinion, at that point, right? Like, Hellblasters were like 115, the 2 Ballistuses like 280, the Lancer. So you were probably at like 565, maybe 575 points of shooting. Like I said, the suppressors don't really shoot, they do incidental damage. So I might even be tempted in this list to just be like, fuck it. We need rid of the Judasaur and the Blade Guard, and we need another tank. Or we need Plasma Inceptors, because I don't know how you feel about Plasma Inceptors, but they are very good in this detachment. I think they're better in the 6 in this detachment. But then the thing is, when you add that unit of Plasma Inceptors, you suddenly like drastically remove the footprint of units that you can potentially have in the game, and like the Sanguinar is very expensive to have. The Sanguinar is good in this, assuming you fight against infantry, he's good, right? Oh, you only got Bolt or Inceptors. Yeah. But yeah, I do think you're light on shooting. And in my experience, I'll tell you right now, was Blade Guard. I played 3 Blade Guard with a Chaplain. Most of the time at this event, they were underwhelming. Just because when I needed them to actually kill something meaningful, they didn't. There's no weight of attacks in that unit, and the strength of the unit is pretty bad. And I put the Chaplain in there to give them the +1 to wound to be, because I thought that would be more meaningful than fighting first. You've got them in a no, you don't have them in transport. You've got the Hellblasters in the transport. I mean, unless you're going to sit the 3 Blade Guard on like your natural expansion with the Judasaur and try and obscure them and just be like, I'm just going to deal with chaff infantry units, maybe. But yeah, I thought the Blade Guard were very underwhelming in Angelic Inheritors. I wouldn't run them again. Not in a 3. I just didn't. I honestly just didn't like them. I just think Strength 5. Angelic Inheritors melee really struggles because you only have Lance and Lethals in one place on the board, and pretty much like the units that you have that need it, like your Intercessors are going to need Lance and Lethals, your Blade Guard are going to need Lance and Lethals, your Sangry Guard are going to need Lance and Lethals, your Outriders are going to need, like, there's too many places you need it, right? So, yeah, I would say you're light on shooting, and I can't give you advice on the suppressors. I keep taking them, or I keep trying them, and I keep feeling that like they're underwhelming. But I think it's more that I just don't know how to play them. Suppressors are for the actions and the -1 to hit. Yeah, I mean, that's the trick, right? But, like, if the enemy goes on the suppressors, they have no survivability. It's 3 guys with toughness 4, right? They die to 1 Armiger's round of autocannons, especially when Armigers have, like, anti-fly 2 up and 48-inch range. Yeah. Armigers are actually really, really good against Sangre Guard as well, because obviously flat 3 damage is a big problem for Blood Angels at the moment. Alright, we're looking at Praedith's list next. If I pronounce people's names wrong, I'm sorry, but my English is not good, and you guys have got crazy names. Is this list better at Liberator or Angelic Host? Alright, that's a good question. Let's look at the list first. Mephisto and Dante, the Blood Angels captain, a captain with a jump pack. So he's made it as a Liberator Assault Group because he's got the Rage Fueled and he's got the speed of the Primarch. I really don't like Rage Fueled at 35 points, man. I think it's too expensive. 35 points for an enhancement that potentially does nothing. Like, I'd rather use those 35 points. This is like half a squad of Blade Guard, right? Assault Intercessor Squad, Assault Intercessors with jump packs, Assault Intercessors with jump packs, Incursors, Infiltrators, 6 Sangre Guard, 6 Sangre Guard, unit of Scouts, Ballistus, Vindicator, Impulsor. 2,000 points. Why is it? Oh, right, yeah. I mean, I guess the second unit of 6 Sangre Guard pushes this up to 2,000 points. So, a single Ballistus and a Vindicator tank is probably not enough shooting. The video I made on Friday talked about how I dislike units of 6 Sangre Guard at their current cost. I think they're too easy to kill. I just think this unit is very difficult to play. I've talked about it multiple times. I don't run it. I'm not going to be running it. And I sort of hate it so much that I'm probably not going... Until it gets points dropped, I'm probably not going to play it again. 2-unit jump intercessors, incursors, infiltrators. This definitely feels more like a Liberator Assault Group list, because we just talked in the last list about needing 900 points of shooting to be good in Angelic Inheritors. Maybe not 900, but like minimum probably like 700. Like, I think to play Angelic Inheritors and to play it well, I think you need to start your list with 2 Vindicator tanks and 6 Plasma Inceptors. I think that is sort of your MVP for shooting in that detachment. If you do not have that, that detachment is going to really struggle to kill things, because it is not an overly killy melee detachment, regardless of the fact that you do get rerolls 1s to hit and reroll 1s to wound for your characters. Breakpoints are a thing, and it misses a lot of those key breakpoints. Is Mephiston still worth it? I don't play Mephiston. I think you're better off with that Combi Weapon Lieutenant with the reactive move. Mephiston always seems to underwhelm when he's in combat, and at that point, why wouldn't you not just play the Combi Weapon Lieutenant, who will be more tricksy, does almost not guaranteed, but usually dishes out a few devastating wounds, and gives you reroll 1s, which is very, very decent. Thoughts on Rapid Ingress Assault Centurions? I actually really like Assault Centurions. I think they're good in a lot of detachments. If they can hit your Oath of Moment target, I think they're very, very good. Very, very good at dealing with knights. Possibly one of the best. In Liberator Assault Group, Assault Centurions are like the best thing. Assault Centurions are the best thing Liberator Assault Group has for killing knights. 3 Assault Centurions for like 150 points will take out a 500 point knight every single turn. But we just don't see them very much because they move 4 inches. What's interesting, though, is like if you play them in potentially Stormlands, then they have permanent advance and charge. And permanent advance and charge could maybe make up for their dog shit move of 4, right? But yeah, I mean, in Liberator Assault Group, you're talking 4 attacks at strength 12 with twin linked. And you go into vehicles or monsters, and you get sustain 2, which is basically you should oath the target. You should fish for 6s. Like, statistically, you should just roll every single dice, every single one that is of your 12 attacks that you get with the unit in Liberator Assault Group. Every dice that is not 6, you should just re-roll it. because basically if you get a 6, you literally proc 3 hits, so that can make up for 2 misses. And if you get lucky and you roll a few 6s, like I had a game where these guys took out like a 400 point knight, and the very next turn they took out another 400 point knight. So they made 5 times their point cost in like 2 turns. It's bonkers. Is it okay to make a Blood Angels army and not paint the helmets different colour, or is that frowned upon? I wouldn't say it's frowned upon at all. What I would say is everybody has different definitions of what unit should have specific helmet colours, and some people don't even know, and some people do different ones, and that's all from editions ago, when it was like a few editions ago there was like fast attack and heavy support and well, they weren't even called battle line, were they? I can't remember what they were called. But the helmet colours are, like, I sometimes do it where like my close combat units have yellow helmets and my shooting units have blue helmets, and the ones that I don't know what they're supposed to be doing just have red helmets, blueberry cheesecake. So I don't think anyone overly cares. I'm sure I've got a few units with the wrong coloured helmets on it as well. And then sometimes there's big arguments, like aggressors. Are they close support? Because they're wearing Gravis armour, and Gravis armour sometimes means blue helmets. I think aggressors could have yellow helmets, but I actually painted my aggressors with red helmets, so nobody knows. I don't think there's a right and wrong answer. You can do some cool things with it, but I think you can do whatever the hell you want. So, yeah, this is much more a Liberator Assault Group list. I don't know if I think you need Mephiston in here. I would just use the Lone Operative. It gives you back like 65 points, which you could use to make one of the Jump Intercessor units a 10-man, which I think is meaningful. 2 big units of Sanguinary Guard is very difficult to play. I feel like you're also missing a vehicle. I think Liberator Assault Group bursts best with 3 vehicles, like 3 shooting units. Ballistus and Vindicator is probably not just enough. You could argue, right, we're just going to do 2 shooting units and we're going to try and make up the difference with the Sanguinary Guard. We've got the Captain with Fight First on 1. We've got Dante on the other. We could Rapid Ingress 1 in turn 2. We could Rapid Ingress 1 in turn 3. I just think these units are very, very expensive, and they die very, very fast. And if one of them gets caught out in the open, they can get nuked in a single turn, and they can get nuked very, very easily. So yeah, this is an okay list. You know, Rage-Fueled Warrior for me, I guess it's a bit swingy. It's fine. I mean, the other thing is, if you did drop Mephiston down to like lone operative character, that would give you probably 65 points, which with like potentially remove Rage-Fueled Warrior, you've got 100 points, split one of those Sanguinary Guard squads in 2, you've got 230 points. With 230 points, you can have another Ballistus Dreadnought, another unit of Jump Intercessors. I feel like that might be more meaningful. It gives you more trading units, it gives you that 3rd shooting unit. It makes your Sanguinary Guard a little bit easier to play, because you'd still have that 6-man Death Ball, and the 3-man one you can tangle with a little bit earlier in the game. It's not too bad a list. It's definitely a Liberator Assault Group list over Angelic Inheritors list. Okay. Alright. Liberator Assault Group next, again. Dante. Wow, this list is a weird format. Alright, Dante, Jump Captain, Jump Chaplain, Sanguinary Guard 3, Sanguinary Guard 3, Sanguinary Guard 3, Assault Intercessors, 5, 5, 5, Aggressors, Devastators, Infiltrators, Scouts. I don't think you need 3 squads of Scouts. Ballistus Dreadnought, Deep Strike and Reserve, Sanguinary Guard and Jump Captain, Strategic Reserve, Scouts, Devastators, Heavy Intercessors. There was Heavy Intercessors. I didn't even see those. No, I don't. Maybe. Okay, maybe this bit at the bottom is junk. Big fan of your show. I hope they got the rules right for strategic reserves correct. Sorry, they're a bit confusing, I think. I mean, maybe you're just thinking about your jump intercessors or I mean, Dante, Captain, Chaplain, three small units of assault intercessors, 3 small units of Sangria Guard. That's one way you could try and make Liberator Assault Group work. The unit of infiltrators for the home field, the 3 units of scouts, the 2 ballistic dreadnoughts for fire support, the aggressors, I guess, moving up to the middle, and the grav cannon devastators as some anti-tank. Devastators a little bit cheaper than I thought they were. I guess maybe Jack's list was a few points less. So aggressors are going to try and hold the middle. I don't know why you're calling them heavy intercessors. I think you've got assault intercessors and the ballistics of fire support. I don't hate the idea behind 3 small units of Sangria Guard and 3 small units of jump intercessors. I don't think you need 3 units of scouts for sure. I think 1 unit could easily become the combi weapon lieutenant. The infiltrators are good. The aggressors and devastators we don't really see. The ballistic dreadnoughts are fine. They're pretty solid. It's not a horrible list. I guess if you are new, then this could be fine if those are the models that you have. I think aggressors right now are probably a little bit underwhelming. I think devastators... Let me just look at the grav cannon. Let me look at grav cannon devastators. I actually have no idea what... I think grav cannon gives them like anti-vehicle 4-up or 2-up or something. One sec. Grav. Anti-vehicle 2-up, flat 3 damage, but it's only AP 1. So you get 12 shots, hitting on 4s, anti-vehicle 2-up. Yeah, I mean, the problem is when you play against monsters, I guess. So you're very good at maybe killing some knights, but you're very bad at fighting against demons. I feel like 4++ is everywhere at the moment, Tommy. Yeah, I kind of agreed with that. I recently sold my 3 ballistas, so they're super swingy damage by itself. Yeah, ballistas can be a bit swingy, right? Like I've seen them like one shot, like toughness 12 vehicles at 40 inches away, and then other times they can't even do a single damage. There's a lot of swing on Space Marine shooting at the moment. That's probably a thing in general, right? Like we don't have, like some other armies probably just have more consistent, reliable shooting, and I think Marines maybe just seems like there's a lot of swing. It's maybe why I really like the Predator Destructor, because I feel like the Predator Destructor, at least at the start of the edition, felt like it got a lot of shots. Right, it was like 2 las cannons, 4 or 6 autocannon shots. So it felt like a lot of shots for the points you spent on it. It was cheaper at the beginning of the edition as well. Yeah, I think I'd swap out one of the scouts. I think the 2 units that probably need to be... They don't need to be replaced, but if you're trying to make the list more competitive or more meta, it could be like a Gladiator Lancer in there. You could also add some Outriders. You could also add some Infiltrators. It's not too bad a list. It's probably a good jumping off point for starters. But, yeah, we just don't see aggressors and devastators at the moment. I don't think they're massively effective. Good evening, Daydreamer. Alright, it'd be interesting your thoughts on this list I'm currently building towards. The one deal breaker for me is that I do not own or plan to purchase any Vindicators. Good for you. Vindicators are the ultimate casino cannons, and I don't really like them. I don't think you need Vindicators in Liberator Assault Group anyway. I think they're more an Angelic Inheritors thing. So, Dante, a captain with Gift of the Foresight. If you're going to give the captain Gift of Foresight, give him a Thunderhammer, because it gives you guaranteed devastating wounds when he fights. Because you can do it after he fights. You can flip a dice to 6, so that is better than a Mastercrafted Chainsword. Chaplain with a jump pack. Okay. Assault Intercessors on foot. I guess they're with this captain. 10 Assault Intercessors jump packs, 2 5s, 5 Infiltrators, 12 Sangre Guard, like I really don't like 12 Sangre Guard. My opinions on this is clear. They are too expensive at the points that we pay for them at the moment. 2 units of Scouts, 2 Ballistas, Dreadnoughts, and a Lancer, and an Impulsor. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to run 2 units of Scouts, you should remove one of them and add the Combi Weapon Lieutenant, because he basically does the same thing. He's much harder for the enemy to kill because he moves around all the time, and he's lone operative, right? So he also gives you, probably for most of the game, reroll 1s on an objective, which is kind of meaningful, because he is difficult to kill. In my tournament, the amount of times that he's still lingering around in like turn 4 or 5 is very often, because you just can't shoot him, you can't charge him most of the time, because when you do move close to shoot him or charge him, he moves away from you, right? And you get to put him in super awkward spots. Like I had an Eldar player move in, my guy jumped behind the wall so he couldn't be shot. They moved behind the wall, he jumped on the other side of the wall back onto the objectives again so he can't be shot. So he's just a nuisance. But a good nuisance, and he does mortal wounds as well. He probably does more damage than the Scouts. Yeah, so I'd swap out a unit of Scouts. Ballistas Lancer is pretty decent. 12 Sangre Guard is possibly the weakness of this list. 3 units of Jump Intercessors is good. Assault Intercessors with a Captain inside an Impulsor is good. Yeah, change out the weapon. If you were trying to make this super meta, the way to try and do it would be to try and like get like, you know, 3 Sangre Guard for 130 points, 6 Blade Guard are only 30 points more. If there was a way you could figure that out, that would probably be a huge win, right? Like, in this list you probably could as well, right? You could just combine these 2 units of Jump Intercessors together, because that would save you 20 points. You could lose that enhancement. I don't think it's massively meaningful. That's 35 points. So you could lose 3 Sangre Guard and replace them with 6 Blade Guard. I would do that, and I would replace this Scout with a Lieutenant, and I think this list is quite a bit more competitive just like that. I mean, if you're not confident getting the Blade Guard across the board, you can still reserve them, right? They can still rapid ingress just from strategic reserve. If you take out most of the invans in the game, the Lancer becomes king. Yeah, I think Lancers are very good. But here's the problem, right? Like, if you're in an event and you have Lancers and you target Knights, for example, Knights always seem to be an issue for Blood Angels. Knights, I think, are a big stat check for Blood Angels at the moment. They're instantly going to Ion Shield. So you would need to be able to see the same Knight with multiple Lancers to kill it in one round of combat. And then how many points are you spending on Lancers, you know? And again, I guess if a Lancer shoots a Land Raider, they're probably going to smoke it. They're probably going to Armor of Contempt it. You know, or if you're playing Death Guard, it's Cloud of Flies, but it's the same sort of nonsense, right? Alright, Nelcross. Hi John, I want to send a variation of a list I put in my previous army video comment. I feel confident on my main list, but I want your thoughts on this variation. I love the look of aggressors and really want to find a place for them. I was planning to put aggressors and Blade Guard in the repulsor, which could be used for shielding and actions. All other units have been pretty self-explanatory in my prior lists. Alright, so we've got a biologist, which we haven't seen yet for a little while, captain of the jump pack, chaplain, and a lieutenant with combi weapon. So 3 aggressors, jump intercessors, Blade Guard infiltrators, Sangre Guard, scouts, outriders, ballistas, lancer, repulsor. Oh, interesting. Okay. So, aggressors and Blade Guard inside the repulsor. So you've got 4 tanks, so you've gone a little bit heavier on the tanks, but we've got 3 jump intercessors. We've kept the Sangre Guard nice and small. We've got 6 Blade Guard in there. We get 2 units of Outriders for some early aggression potential. No, sorry, 1 unit of Outriders. Unit of Scouts. Obviously the repulsor means no impulsor. So the chaplain would be with the Blade Guard. You've got the combi weapon lieutenant. You've got the captain of the jump pack, which was probably... So you've got no Dante. And then you've got the apothecary. I don't know if I feel like the apothecary is worth 85 points attached to aggressors. Like, what is he doing for 85 points? I don't think he's worth it. He's giving the aggressors lethal hits. But but they've got Flamestorm, so they can't benefit from lethal hits, and their Power Fists are twin-linked, so arguably don't need lethal hits. So what is the Apothecary doing? He's just basically there, so if by some miracle you kill an enemy unit in a melee attack with the Apothecary, you get a lot of OC. I don't know if I feel like that's worth 85 points. Halo in chat says he's not worth the 75 points. Yeah, and Gift of Foresight is an interesting choice for him as well, because it's not like he's got Strength 4 melee weapon, so you're not doing much with that. What about the Captain and Gravis? How many points is he? Yeah, replace that Apothecary with a Captain and Gravis armor. You can give the Captain and Gravis armor. What's his options for weapons again? He can have one Bolt Storm one Power Fist, and a Relic Blade. So in melee, he will get 5 attacks with the Power Fist, 2 extra attacks with the Relic Blade. So basically, he's on 7 attacks. If you charge, it's 8. So he gets 8 attacks, minus 2. And then he's half damage. Right? When damage starts coming against him with his 6 wounds, he takes half. And then he also reduces the CP cost by 1. So you can do a stratagem on him for free CP. Is there a difference between a patron or a YouTube member? No, if you're a patron member, you'll get priority as well. I don't remember seeing a list from you this week, Daydreamer. If you have sent it, can you... every time someone becomes a patron, I message them, I DM them. Yes, we have a Discord. !Discord in chat, if you want to see the Discord. Every time someone becomes a patron, I send them a DM so that they can DM me back. So you should have if you are on Patreon, Daydreamer, you should have a DM from me. If you want your list reviewed, just reply to that DM and I'll get you on the show next week. Yeah, I would swap out that Lieutenant for sure. Sorry, the Apothecary. Swap out the Biologist for the Captain and Gravis. Yes, you're at 1995 points. I don't think it's meaningful to be 5 points down. I think the list is better with him because I think he does a lot of damage. And I think he lingers around. Like, after the unit's dead, he lingers around for a while, and he's still got quite a lot of killing power just by himself. Right? Because he's getting, like, 8 attacks, and a bunch of them are at Strength 10, and a bunch of them are at Strength 7. Alright, Elorask. This is the list I'm thinking of taking a tournament, testing it against Nids on Sunday before the stream. Blade Guard with a Chaplain in the Land Raider, the Jump Captain, Reserve with the Jump Intercessors. Alright, so a Foresight Captain, a Chaplain in the Blade Guard, like you just said, Chaplain with a Jump Pack, and a Lieutenant with Combi Weapons. So we've got 10 Assault Intercessors, 10 Assault Intercessors, 10 Assault Intercessors. Okay, so 30 Assault Intercessors. You don't see this often, but I think this is decent, right? Because it does a lot of mortal wounds, and it's a lot of cheap bodies. You've got a Ball Predator, you've got 2 Ballistic Dreadnoughts, you've got Blade Guard, you've got Infiltrator Squad, you've got the Land Raider, you've got Outriders, Scouts. So, the only... okay, so 2 Ballistic Dreadnoughts and a Land Raider is fire support, 2 Outriders, the double Scouts, Lieutenant with Combi Weapon. I suppose the Chaplain with the Jump Pack will be with 1 10 unit of Jump Intercessors. You'd reserve them. The other Chaplain with the Blade Guard. The Captain. With the Jump Pack. So, sorry, the Captain with the Jump Pack in reserve. I guess the Chaplain plus the Jump Intercessors is on the board. You can fit 2 of those units in reserve. I could be tempted to do that. I could be tempted to put 20 Jump Intercessors, both lead, into reserve. Strategic, Rapid Ingress turn 2, Rapid Ingress turn 3. You got the Ball Predator as well. You've steered away from all the Blood Angel specific characters and units to keep the costs down. It's Liberator Assault Group. In fact, the only Blood Angels thing you have in this list is the Ball Predator. Which, ironically, probably actually makes the list seem a little bit stronger. The Blood Angels captain in the Gravis is a mini Catan with Artificer armor. I ran him this week, Halo, and his whole squad was dead. And he lingered, he was fighting models that did 2 damage, and he lingered around for like 4 turns, just killing Genestealer cultists turn on turn, and they just couldn't drop him, because every time he only failed like 1 save, and it was like, oh, it's just 1 damage because of half his damage. You got the disc. Cool, yeah, so Daydreamer, if you want, if any time if you want an army list review, just reply to that DM. And I'll get you on the show next week, because I get a notification if you reply, so it's easier for me to deal with it that way. Yeah, so ironically, this is a pretty strong list. It's got no Blood Angels units in it, but a Ball Predator, but it is pretty strong. I don't overly love the Land Raider, but I mean, I ran one to a tournament. Right now, I suppose the one way to think about running a Land Raider is like Blood Angels typically put a lot of toughness 4 bodies on the board. We know toughness 4 bodies with a 3-up save don't have a lot of durability. That's why we see Impulsors, that's why we see Repulsors, and I guess that's why sometimes we see Land Raiders. I feel like if you take a Land Raider, you're never going to win the tournament, but a Land Raider can be quite a safe pick for like mid-tabling, right? Because it's like it protects you against some of those armies that you feel you need to be protected against, but then against some armies it's just not super efficient. I felt like when I took the Land Raiders to my least recent tournament, I sort of felt forced into it because I didn't know what else to pick. And they are okay. They are okay. But, I mean, I think you would have to play out of your skin to win a tournament with a Land Raider. Yeah. It's a tough unit, right? Because it's a lot of points. You're paying for the fact that it can move and then you can charge out of it. And you're paying for the number of guns it's got, which is meaningful, but like there are still times, because there's no rerolls, and in my list I actually had a Tech Marine giving the Land Raider +1 to hit. There are still times when the Land Raider does literally nothing, even with +1 to hit, even with 4 las cannons and 2 multi-melta shots and 2 twin bolter shots, or 3 bolter shots. You know, like there were definitely times I just shot it and it was like it did nothing. I think it was Aradine last night that did the gifted memberships. Aradine's always coming in with like 10 gifted memberships. What a superstar he is. So yeah, I think that is kind of the end of tonight's show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will be here next week as normal. We might be getting a balanced data slate. If there is a balanced data slate this week, I will try and go live as soon as I know, as soon as it leaks or as soon as it goes out, I will try and do a stream about it. Who knows if I'll get a chance? Depends on what day it happens. I'm going to be playing Andrew's new World Eaters list on Wednesday night. I'm going to be using Storm Lance again, unless the balanced data slate shifts massively. I'm probably going to play Stormlands to the tournament I've got the first week of August. Don't forget to like the stream on your way out, guys, if you haven't already, says Surfsong. Yeah, thanks so much for the reminder. I always forget to ask people to like. I even have these fancy banners that I can play, like and subscribe banners, and they're on buttons over here. Apparently, I just never friggin' press them, right? I think, anyway. I think I should be able to put, like, a like. No? Yeah, look. Fancy like banners. I literally never press it. And subscribe. I never press that either. I need to update my my little thing over here that lets me press those. Do you keep the Stormraven, John? Yes. What detachment were World Eaters run? I think he's running the one where he runs like 100 cultists and 2 Lords of Skulls or some nonsense. I like the Stormraven, I do, but I think that I didn't like the Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I think they're too expensive. I think we knew that, right? We've been saying all edition, Redemptor Dreadnoughts are too expensive. So yeah, I mean, you haven't seen me play Redemptor Dreadnoughts in Liberator Assault Group or Angelic Inheritors. Nobody plays them, in fact, in those detachments. They're too expensive. So yeah, I'm not playing them. I don't think I'm going to play them again in Stormlands. Maybe they get a drop in points, right? Like, I feel like they need a drop in points. 210 points for a toughness 10 with 12 wounds and no advanced save is bonkers. And they also have a D6 swingy problem with the plasma gun. It's better than it was last edition, Tommy. At least it's D6 plus 1 now. Last edition it was just D6. But yeah, it's pretty bad. So, yeah, I'm probably going to drop both of those. So I will see you guys Wednesday night for the live show. There'll be other content out from me as well, as always, every week there is. So have a great weekend, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll see you at some point this next week. By the blood already made strong. Good night. Peace, peace, peace.